Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're back with another Michigan recruiting report here exclusively on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, get notifications every time we drop a new video. All right, guys, Michigan made a huge hire in Tony Alford, who's coming over to coach running backs after spending a lot of time at rival Ohio State. So Sharon Moore doing a fantastic job of stealing from Michigan's biggest rival, landing Tony Alford, who is also considered one of the best running back recruiters in the country. Here are 5 running backs that Tony Alford is sure to target this cycle as he makes the move over to Michigan. The first on the list is Bo Jackson. Yeah, that's a name that should be familiar to everybody, but we're talking about the high school version of Bo Jackson. That is top 100 Cleveland product, Bo Jackson. Ohio State considered the heavy leader on the On3 recruiting prediction machine. And I think Tony Alford had the Buckeyes in a great spot to land Jackson. Now that Alford is at Michigan, the door is open for the Wolverines to make a big move with him. Jackson visited Michigan last year, but it seemed like his interest had faded a little bit. There wasn't a ton of communication with former running backs coach Mike Hart, but the relationship is definitely there with Tony Alford. Look, Michigan was able to pull Jordan Marshall out of Ohio last cycle. And I think Alford, being an experienced recruiter in enemy territory, coming over from Ohio State, where he already had built that relationship with Jackson, really opens the door for the possibility of Bo Jackson in Michigan. So I think getting him on campus this spring would be a big step in the right direction. I'm sure Alford is already working on getting in contact with Jackson and recruiting him to Ann Arbor. So Jackson, the first guy on our list. We're going to move on to our next running back, and that is Jordan Davidson out of California at Powerhouse Modern Day, where Michigan has landed a few guys in the past, including wide receiver Christian Dixon. Tony Alford has built some momentum here with Davidson recently. Look, Texas is the leader on the On3 recruiting prediction machine by a good margin, but Ohio State was starting to build some momentum this month. They're scheduled to get him on campus on March 27th, I believe, or March 30th, last week of March. But with Tony Alford moving over to Michigan, there's some buzz that a potential visit to Michigan could happen that week instead. Now, Davidson is a guy that's already familiar with Michigan. He actually visited as an underclassman, but much like Bo Jackson, his interest faded as contact dropped off with Mike Hart. That relationship with Tony Alford will open the door for the Wolverines to get back in the mix here. And yeah, I do think Texas probably has that lead right now. But like I said, Ohio State was building momentum in large part due to Tony Alford. So, you're going to see Alford go after the best of the best backs in the country. Davidson is definitely one of them. He's the number 83 overall recruit in the country. So I think the door is opening for Michigan to make a move here as well. Next running back on the list is Byron Lewis out of Florida. He is at National Powerhouse American Heritage. And with Byron Lewis, he's not a guy that's really familiar with Michigan. He didn't pick up an offer from Mike Hart. He's never been to campus, but Alford had Ohio State in the lead here. And you see Ohio State has a good lead over Miami on the On3 recruiting prediction machine with a 63.9% chance of landing him. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds. He's built like a Big Ten running back. And Alford has landed guys out of Florida in the past. His resume, if you look at it, includes a lot of Florida land. So he has deep ties there. Michigan also has Stafford Denard Robinson, who played for the Jacksonville Jaguars, played running back for the Jags, and is originally from the state of Florida. And I think he would help out in this recruitment as well. It would not be surprising to see Alford get on Byron Lewis right away, especially now that his hire is official. So, Byron Lewis is a name that Michigan fans definitely need to get familiar with. Next on the list is a fan favorite for sure, and that is Marquise Davis, top 150 running back out of Cleveland Heights. And, Marquise is just a special athlete. We've talked about him on the show plenty of times. He's a dynamic two-way player. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Ohio last year, beating out Michigan signee Jordan Marshall. And, you know, this is no knock on Jordan Marshall, but I think Marquise Davis might be even better. His ranking isn't as high yet, but I think he's going to continue to climb. Ohio State, massive lead, 91.7% chance of landing him. But with Tony Alford on staff now, I think that could definitely change. Marquise visited Michigan for the game in November and is expected to be on campus this spring. The Alford hire, I think, out of all the recruits we're talking about, probably helps out the most with Marquise Davis. He told our Zach Libby that he supports the change. So I'm really excited about Michigan's chances here. Marquise Davis is my favorite running back on the board, despite all the rankings. You know, I would have him ahead of the guys we've already talked about. So I think he's an absolute monster and one of the most important recruits for Michigan this recruiting cycle. And Alford definitely gives the Wolverines a bump here. Last on the list is Harry Dalton out of Virginia. He's not a guy that's really highly touted. He's a 3-star on the industry ranking, but Alford actually offered this dude in January while he was at Ohio State. So a very recent offer. He's another guy who's 6 foot, 205 pounds. So another power back type. Again, he's out of Dinwiddie, Virginia. He's actually climbed the rankings on On3. He's a top 250 prospect on On3. So I think he's a guy that could continue to climb up the rankings. I exchanged a couple of messages with Dalton today, and he told me that he has interest in Michigan. He's excited about the Alford hire. I think if Alford pushes during his time at Michigan, Dalton will definitely come in for a visit. So he's not a name that Michigan fans are really familiar with, but he's one that you guys should keep an eye on. So those are 5 guys that Michigan will likely target at the running back position now that Tony Alford is on staff. There's a few others. We have a complete rundown of guys that Alford targeted in 2025 and 2026 over at thewolverine.com, as well as plenty of other coverage on the Tony Alford hire. So make sure to subscribe to thewolverine.com for $1 for 1 month. And also like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for free.